Okay, I'm going to get this out in the open right away. Homeschooling is not the best option for every family all the time. And I know that's hard for some people who are set that homeschooling is the end-all be-all. And sometimes for families, it is that scenario. For our family, it just ended up working that way. We started out when our oldest was in kindergarten, and now we're about 3 years away from graduating our youngest. So each year, we just knew that that was what we were supposed to do, and we went with it. There's other families that I've talked to in the past who take homeschooling 1 year at a time, and they know that this year they're called to homeschool, but they're not sure about next year. Now, I'm going to leave this caveat with you about that, though, is that putting a child in and out of a schooling setting and your homeschool can have some glitches just because of the way that schools intake students who are homeschooled. And so you need to be careful to make sure you research your state laws, how your school district handles that, or even your particular school. Some require a great amount of paperwork from you to figure out where your child places when they go back into the school, and some require testing. So make sure that you know what those scenarios are before you start, so that you aren't caught off guard when you have to either turn in a lot of paperwork maybe that you hadn't been working on and creating while you were homeschooling, or your child isn't ready to take a placement test to be able to go back into the school system. But if you're prepared, sometimes a year-by-year basis is the best way to do that. For other families, they have homeschooling as an option for a time. And they know that for that time, they really need to bring their child home and to maybe work on specific skills to make them more successful in a classroom setting, or to maybe finish up school because there's not the right types of classes that's going to help their child transition well. There's just lots of different scenarios for that option also. Maybe you have a medical emergency with your child and your child is in the hospital. They are doing therapies ongoing that don't quite work out with a school schedule. So homeschooling works out good in that situation too. Or you just maybe have a family emergency that takes your family away from everything and needs to just pull your family together, and that's where homeschooling can come in to help you to just reconnect as a family and to heal and to grow together. And then there's those options where homeschooling is just not the best scenario at all. And that is the case for some families. And, you know, I've had parents ask me over the years, well, how do I know? How do I know if I'm supposed to homeschool or not? And the answer that I've always come back with is this: wherever God's peace is where you're supposed to be. And it's really that simple. If you are nervous or anxious about whatever school scenario you're looking at for your child, it's not right. But you will have a perfect peace when you will know that that scenario that you're looking at is where you're supposed to be and where you're supposed to be taking your child. And that may be homeschooling, that may be homeschooling for a while, it may be a private school, or it may be a public school. But it's wonderful that homeschooling is an option. And for special education with homeschooling, there are those options for you. Just make sure that you research ahead of time so that you're prepared to know what's required if your option changes.